Monster trucks are designed to look unstoppable. 12,000-pound giants, roaring engines, 5-foot-tall tires crushing steel like paper. And to most of us, they're pure spectacle. Loud, exciting, larger than life. But when something goes wrong, it goes wrong fast. Tonight, we're looking at several real-world monster truck accidents, all of them unfolding in front of a live audience. Some during Monster Jam, some at independent shows, all of them tragic.
41-year-old George Eisenhart apparently doesn't realize the monster truck Samson is coming.
This isn't about shock value. It's about understanding what happened and how a moment of mechanical failure, human error, or pure bad luck can change everything. We begin with a story that, even now, feels unreal. In early 2024, industry veteran Paul Broad was working a monster truck event in Marion, Ohio. Paul wasn't a casual hobbyist. This was his life. He owned Extreme Monster Sports, traveled the country with his wife, and had been around these machines for years. But on that night, everything changed. While Paul was on the track, a 12,000-pound monster truck suddenly backed up and struck him. Paul doesn't remember the moment of the impact. He remembers setting up, and then nothing. What followed was a fight for survival. He was rushed to the hospital, placed into a coma, and began a long, painful recovery.
Paul, what do you remember from that day?
I don't really remember too much. I just remember waking up in the hospital the next day.
Which was a month and a half to 2 months later.
He suffered severe brain damage, needing a ventilator just to breathe and a feeding tube just to eat. Doctors warned his wife that he may never walk again.
Yeah, they told me at the beginning that I would never drive again.
Well, I was told I'd probably have to feed him for the rest of his life.
He's continuing therapy to regain physical and mental function.
Paul kept going. Over the next year, he relearned how to walk, talk, eat, function. Today, he still lives with the effects of the accident, but he's alive, moving, speaking, even attending shows again. He calls the crash a perfect accident. No blame, just a moment where 2 safety rules were broken, and he paid the price. This story matters because, unlike many you're about to hear, Paul walked away, but not everyone did. In Madison, Wisconsin, a monster truck and thrill show was wrapping up its final race when something unthinkable happened. George Eisenhart Jr., the show's promoter and announcer, a man who had dedicated his life to motorsport safety, stepped into the path of a moving monster truck.
And in my 16 years of doing the Madison, Wisconsin event, we've had a great safety experience.
Samson's driver is a 54-year-old Ohio man who's been performing in shows like this for more than 20 years. He told investigators he knew immediately he hit something.
The driver, a seasoned professional with decades of experience, later said he never saw George, and George never saw him. seconds, the accident turned fatal.
I've never seen something so horrific and terrifying in my entire life, and it just breaks my heart that my kid had to see it. You know, my 3-year-old son.
He knew that he had hit something, but obviously didn't know it was a person.
Neither the truck driver nor Mr. Eisenhart saw each other before the collision.
Investigators described it as exactly that, a tragic accident. No alcohol, no reckless behavior, just a moment where two people, both deeply experienced, both highly respected, crossed paths without seeing each other. George left behind his wife, his daughters, and a motorsports community that adored him. He was even serving as president of the Monster Truck Racing Association, the very organization dedicated to the safety that failed him that night. And the haunting part, this accident happened just over a week after another monster truck tragedy involving a child. That one was in Tacoma. Six-year-old Sebastian Heasy went to Monster Jam with his family the way thousands of kids do every year. Wide-eyed, excited, loving every second. But during the freestyle portion, as a monster truck spun in tight circles, a heavy metal component broke loose. It traveled into the stands and struck Sebastian.
This chunk of metal, roughly the size of a frisbee, tore off the monster truck during a show. The metal struck Sebastian in the head, killing him.
First responders rushed in immediately. Spectators screamed for help, but the injury was catastrophic. Sebastian later passed away at the hospital.
I think of a lot of things that could have gone completely differently. He'd still be here.
Why did this happen? It's a question that keeps playing in my head over and over and over.
His family said he was a kid's kid, quiet with strangers, full of life at home, and thrilled to be there that night.
He just enjoyed life, and he was robbed of it.
Monster Jam issued a statement calling the accident unprecedented. Investigators began examining the truck's drivetrain containment system, the very device meant to prevent this exact scenario. A man sitting nearby was also injured, but survived. Sebastian didn't. And this wasn't the last time spectators would be put in danger, because in two separate international events, there were no barriers at all. And the outcome was devastating. In Haaksbergen, Netherlands, a monster truck show was being held in the town centre. A family event surrounded by simple barriers, the kind meant to guide crowds, not stop a truck. During the show, a monster truck rolled over a line of parked cars, revved, then veered off course. The truck broke through the barrier and plowed into the crowd. 3 people lost their lives, including a child. Dozens more were injured, many critically. Later, the Monster Truck Racing Association said the spectators were positioned far too close to the arena, and that multiple layers of safety that are standard elsewhere simply weren't in place. The driver was detained afterwards. Not because authorities believed it was intentional, but because the system itself failed. This accident raised international questions about safety standards. But just 2 years earlier, an even worse tragedy had already shown what can happen when heavy machinery meets thin crowd protection. At an airshow in Chihuahua, Mexico, thousands gathered to watch aircraft demonstrations. and a monster truck exhibition known as Big Show. The truck made one pass over a line of cars, then another, faster. When it landed, the truck bounced violently, and in that moment, something went wrong. Witnesses say the driver may have struck his head. Some reported seeing his helmet come off. In seconds, the truck lost control and drove straight into the crowd. There were no protective barriers, no reinforced fencing. 8 people died, nearly 80 were injured. Children, adults, families. Authorities later said a breath test detected alcohol in the driver's system, though the level and legal implications were not immediately clear. Investigators also examined mechanical failure as a possible factor. But one thing became painfully obvious. The crowd never should have been that close. And the worst monster truck accident in modern history didn't happen inside an arena or a stadium or a fenced track. It happened in an open park where one mistake became irreversible. Monster trucks aren't designed to hurt people, and most events today are highly regulated, separated by barriers, safety tech, inspections, and strict driver protocols. But as these tragedies show, when thousands of pounds of steel are in motion, there is no such thing as almost safe. Only safe or not. Families came that day expecting noise and dirt and excitement. They didn't expect history. And somewhere in the middle of the engines and the cheer and the spotlight, we're reminded that real life doesn't always act like a show.